This is not a test. Don't expect to be impressed. Put on your life vest. Sit down your armrest. It's time to stray from the grind. Don't take my hand, 'cause you'll find no peace of mind. Side quest.
Hi there, and welcome to Side Quest. I'm Steve Wetherill, and with me today is Robert Bevan, and this is the podcast we do when we're not doing our regular podcast, when we're not having Authors and Dragons adventures. We're doing the Side Quest, which could be any number of things. We might play a different game, we might have a fascinating guest, we might bitch endlessly about Ghostbusters for eternity. Guess which podcast we're doing today?
Playing a game.
It's Thanksgiving in America. That doesn't mean anything to me. It's also Gazpacho Soup Day, which is sort of the opposite of Thanksgiving, so that's what I'm celebrating.
Did you have some Gestapo soup?
Gestapo soup? No, that's an entirely different holiday. I had a secret countdown in my head, because I know the rest of the gang isn't here and it's just you and me, and I always have a secret countdown in my head to count how long it is before one of us mentions Hitler. Gestapo soup in the first 20 seconds confounded my expectations. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Well, I mean, you brought it up, so does that even count? If it's your own,
well, I said gazpacho soup. There's no such thing as Gestapo soup.
Like you didn't know I was going to make a comment.
I honestly did not. Gazpacho Soup Day is a Red Dwarf joke, and it's a day where we recall our most humiliating life experiences and eat Mediterranean food. So it's sort of the opposite of Thanksgiving. But how was your Thanksgiving? I believe you celebrated a little early this year. Is that right?
My Thanksgiving was good, yes. I celebrated early, and then I celebrated again today.
Excellent. Doubly thankful this year.
Yeah, very thankful. My family came in over the weekend and cooked a bunch of food, and then my son's birthday was yesterday, so then we ate a bunch more food, and then today was Thanksgiving, so we ate a bunch more food.
Oh, that sounds excellent.
Yeah, feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Man, I'm getting sleepy just thinking about it. Anyway.
You sound a little sleepy.
Yeah, we need to shake off that turkey/Mediterranean food energy.
We got to shake the Gestapo.
we got to shake off that Gestapo soup. Because we do have a purpose to today's podcast. We're not just making Nazi soup jokes. We're going to talk about Ghostbusters again. Because we have both recently seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, the latest installment.
Did we introduce ourselves?
It's Side Quest. Do we often introduce ourselves?
Yeah, we'll tell the people who's here.
But I said that you were here and no one else was.
You did?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, you did. All right, sorry.
For the listeners who might have been confused by our rambling, incoherent introduction involving Nazi soup, yeah, no one else is here. It's just me and Bevan.
That's all I need.
Yeah, that's all we need. It'll be fine. We can carry this. We're just two middle-aged men who have watched a Ghostbusters movie. Possibly. Maybe the most qualified people to talk about the Ghostbusters movie. I don't know.
Ages aside, I think you and I are.
Regular listeners of the podcast, and I assume if you're here by now, you haven't just kind of dropped in out of the ether. You may know that we have a slightly contentious history with the Ghostbusters franchise, or at least one notable installment in that franchise, which I have talked about at length.
I was making a joke, that I don't actually believe that you and I are the most in the world of Ghostbusters fans. Then
no.
All right, go
I
for
disagree.
It, yeah.
I disagree.
All right,
and
we are the most qualified.
I'm on my third beer, and I feel like I am the most qualified person on this podcast to talk about Ghostbusters.
Well, I watched the movie, so I'm far more qualified than I am to talk about this than I am to talk about most of the shit we talk about.
That's true. We should mention that, unlike other side quests, Bevan has actually seen the movie we're talking about. So this is a special occasion, I guess.
Well, you finally, wanted to watch something interesting.
All right, well, on that stunning endorsement, let's get into it. Did you find it interesting? Oh, I should probably...
I did.
Let's point out for the listeners, in case you didn't get it, we're talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife. If you haven't seen it, there's going to be spoilers. If you haven't seen Ghostbusters 2016, there's going to be spoilers. If you saw Ghostbusters in 2016 and you really enjoyed it, I'm going to say some things that are going to upset you.
Nobody enjoyed it.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people out there who pretend to enjoy it.
I've seen a lot of people saying they enjoyed it.
Well, I also want to talk about that. I don't just want to talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife. Surprise podcast. I'm using a new movie to smuggle in my casual, bitter hatred. I want to talk about, I guess, the cultural zeitgeist that surrounds the Ghostbusters franchise now. The battleground it's become.
Zeitgeist?
Or Zeitghost.
Ha ha!
Oh, we're having fun.
That was funnier than anything that happened in 2016.
Well, that's funny and it's true. Before we get into the bitterness and the scab picking and the things that everybody is secretly here for, let's talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife. What are your thoughts, Bevan, as a movie you have actually seen on the podcast where we frequently talk about movies? Please do. Illuminate.
All right. Overview, I really, really enjoyed it. I'm a little bit braced right now for you to ruin it for me a little bit, but
yeah, I'm gonna do
that. Like the new Star Wars movies. Really had a blast through them, and then I talked to other people and found out reasons I shouldn't like them as much as I did. And yeah, they were kind of right. But I still had a good experience in the movie theater. And just like the Star Wars prequels, these new movies were still shit tons better than that pile of crap. Just like, despite whatever flaws this movie might have, it is piles better than the horse shit that was Ghostbusters 2016.
All right, I'll take that. I enjoy your magnanimous nature to the I really enjoyed it, but then you told me why I shouldn't enjoy it, and you were kind of right. That was that's
not you. I think that was mostly Rick.
Yeah, Rick raises some good points. Hey, I raised some good points too, but no, I think Rick was a bit more vehement on the Star Wars discussion. But that's why we have these discussions, so we can tell otherwise happy people why they shouldn't be happy. I'm going to start with what I liked about it.
Are you not going to give us an overview? Like just general thoughts?
Yeah, general thoughts, high-level stuff, what I liked about it. Because I was a big fan of Ghostbusters, the movie, but on two levels. I remember watching it as a kid and then rediscovering it as a young man. And watching it as a kid, it was just this great, big, spectacular, kooky adventure. As a young man, it's a really smart, funny, almost perfect comedy script. And so there's two Ghostbusters movies in my head. The great movie and the fun adventure. If 12-year-old me had watched Ghostbusters Afterlife, they would have thought it was the second coming of Christ. Kid me watched Ghostbusters 1, watched Ghostbusters 2, a little bit disappointing, but also watched Ghostbusters cartoon, watched all the comics, had all the toys. You could really kind of play around in the world that they'd invented. And Ghostbusters Afterlife really fucking leans into that, I think.
Sorry, I had a friend when I was that age. He was like problematically into Ghostbusters. He had all the toys, but then he built this enormous fire station out of cardboard in his room because, the one they sold wasn't good enough.
That doesn't sound problematic to me.
Yeah, well, all right, if that's your thing. But this thing took up like half his room.
That sounds Again, sounds
This
like
massive structure of garbage.
a good use of half of his room. Did your friend go on to become some kind of public official?
No, I'm not sure whatever happened to him.
No. I'm going to just, in headcanon, say he had a really happy life because he knew what his priorities were. But yeah, there's a whole kind of imaginative experience side of the Ghostbusters universe, which is mostly about the tech and the ghosts and the cool music and the vehicles, which all of that shit was abundantly present in Afterlife. If I'd been a kid watching Afterlife and seeing kids dicking around with proton packs and joyriding Ecto-1, I would have thought it was the best thing ever. Like, the Goonies can all suck a dick. Monster Squad, suck a dick. That would have been the best. But no, don't do that because they're all, underage. I should use a better analogy there. But
well, they're not underage anymore.
That's true. They're all grown-ups now, so they can suck a dick.
You can suck all their dicks.
I can, and it wouldn't be weird. Well, no, it would be. It would be weird, but legal, and that's an important distinction. The point I'm trying to make is it was kind of a rip-roaring adventure. There's a lot of discovery, a lot of, in some cases, maybe a little bit over-reverent of the kind of iconography of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And, it was kind of rehashing the beats of the first movie a lot. There was the Zool dogs, and there was Gozer and the temple. All stuff we've seen before, but all kind of, it's been a long time since then, and it was redone quite nicely. And in the same way that the first Star Wars episode 7 kind of rehashed the original, but were just...
No, not kind of.
Well, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The same but different kind of repackaging. All episode 7 had to do was try and recapture the magic of Star Wars and not fucking suck like the prequels did.
Yeah.
Or like the Phantom Menace specifically did. And it did that.
I agree.
Ghostbusters Afterlife, at least, is definitely hitting a lot of the original beats, but it was a different vibe, different tone, different setting, introduced some kid heroes and a kind of family dynamic. I would say, as a sequel to Ghostbusters 1, my big flaw would be that it's not very much like Ghostbusters 1 in terms of tone. It's not a smart, dry comedy.
And not adult either. It's
not adult.
this was... But I mean, I don't think it was... if you go too far in that direction, you are just rebooting Ghostbusters 1.
Yeah.
But I like the direction it took. It's for kids, but not like patronizing and stupid.
Yeah, I mean, there were all the kid heroes in that. You had Egon's granddaughter, who's kind of socially awkward genius. You had Podcast, who's kind of the new Ray, enthusiastic goofball. You had Finn, what's his name? Finn, Stranger Things.
Wolf Dick or something.
Yeah. Wolf Bang. His, I don't know, kind of underused character, but he got to drive around in the Ecto-1. And none of those child characters were as annoyingly stupid as anything in Ghostbusters 2016.
No.
If anything, they were less childish.
And they weren't like run your face into the ground caricatures either. Even like the Spangler's granddaughter. All right, she's smart and awkward, but it wasn't like a superpower or something unbelievable or something. She was... she was still like kind of a believable character.
She had superpowers.
Maybe a little too tech savvy in some bits, but
she was a 12-year-old who could fucking rewire a building, and that's goofy, but that's fine. It's Ghostbusters, but I guess they didn't really, like you said, really fucking rub it into you. Like, she's super smart. She's a genius. We're going to talk about what a genius she is all the time. She was allowed some space to breathe and appear somewhat normal.
It's part of the reason. It worked as it did. I mean, nobody had to build equipment, The equipment was all there and ready to go. A little unbelievable that, what's his face fixed Ecto-1 without going to an auto parts store or anything.
Yeah, that's Finn Wolfie Wolf. His character was really undeveloped. They could have really said, because he mentioned, wanting a car once. They could have just said at some point, it's like, his thing is he's a 15-year-old kid who really fucking wants a car. He's always reading auto magazines. a couple of lines here and there would have brought him more into the journey rather than him just kind of turning up because he was bored and wanted to drive through a cornfield.
Yeah.
That could have been handled better, but they concentrated more on his kind of having a love story. But
The fourth kid was really just there sometimes.
oh, the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even remember her name. She was just the girlfriend, the love interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all kind of pointless. It's like, oh, we'll give him a love interest. Why? I don't know.
Because we need a fourth Ghostbuster kid.
Yeah. The cynical part of me thinks they were like thinking like 2016. It's like, well, we need a black Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
Oh God, maybe that was true. Maybe that's how they fought.
Yeah, the love interest part of the story didn't bother me at all. I thought, all right, these are family moving into a small town. This is what each of them's getting up to, and it didn't overtake anything. It
Yeah,
had some scenes, and yeah.
it was fine. It was background. I still think it was kind of unnecessary. I sort of thought that character was going to be like, oh, she's the sheriff's daughter, so she's going to get their equipment out of the lockup. But it turned out they actually had a pretty cool way of getting their equipment out of the locker that had absolutely nothing to do with her at all.
Yeah, that was cool.
So,
well, maybe. I mean, then again, how close could you get to an evidence locker if you wanted to?
what if my dad run the sheriff's office?
No, just you, Steve Wetherill.
What, right now?
Yes.
Well, I'm on my fourth beer, so I'm just going to assume it'd be fucking easy. And no worries.
Well, no, I'm saying, so she did play some part in getting the stuff out of the locker.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't have gotten to it.
That's true. Well, what I will say, had she not been in the movie at all, if I just had some weird form of narcolepsy where I'd fallen asleep every time she was on screen, I still would have known what was going on in the movie. So,
oh, sure.
Which is not a great sign for a character, but I don't consider that a gripe. I think that's just fine. It was okay.
It wasn't enough to bother anyone,
No, that's right.
That was, what, she had like 10 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, it didn't bother me. I just thought, the whole, even Finley Wolfman, I thought was underused and underdeveloped. I thought that entire kind of B plot was a little weak.
Well, yeah, I thought he was the star.
Apparently not. He's just the babysitter.
Yeah.
Podcast and Spengler Girl. That's what it's all about. And they were great. They were fine. I enjoyed them very much. I thought, oh, there's a character called Podcast. And now I'm going to see what a desperate 40-year-old Hollywood writer thinks kids are into. But no, he was a fun little dude. I enjoyed those child characters.
Yeah.
Much more than I thought I would, to be honest. When I heard this is going to be like a child-centric Ghostbusters, part of me just went, oh, fuck off.
Yeah, that could have been bad.
It could have been bad, but they swung it. It was fine. It was a family Ghostbusters movie. They had Paul Judd. Oh, I say Paul Judd?
Rudd.
Paul Rudd. I wanted to say Judd Apatow and Paul Rudd, and they just kind of collided in my brain and created a super indie comedy character.
That's another thing I was happy about, because you were worried about the kids. I was worried, like, this is going to be like Paul Rudd is Adorable, the movie.
Yeah.
They didn't lean too far into that either.
I mean, that is pretty much, if you've got Paul Rudd, it'd be very tempting to make Paul Rudd is Adorable, the movie.
Yeah.
But he was, he kind of played the keymaster role. He's no Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
But he brought his own vibe to it, which was fine. And I like the fact that the mom character, I don't know the actress's name, but I thought she was actually pretty good. And again, a little bit underused. Played the gatekeeper role. And I thought they just had that was a nice little dynamic. They kept it. Everybody was relevant to the plot, but it had this nice kind of found family thing going on. It was good.
I didn't find her underused. I found her just about rightly used. She, I liked her dry sarcasm, and she had shit to deal with, and I thought she was great.
Maybe I just thought she was underused because I liked the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you have it. We have the mom character who is Egon's daughter, who evidently the scientific talents really skipped a generation. She's just a professional alcoholic, which, is its own kind of science. But, Egon Spengler's granddaughter has taken up the torch, guided by the spirit of Egon. I quite like that. That, to me, felt like more of an 80s movie than all the kind of 80s throwback shit we've had in the past 15 years. I don't know what it was about it, but the sense of adventure and discovery in this movie really kind of took me back to the golden age of summer blockbusters. And I think that's a really strong plus that this movie had.
Yeah, I do not disagree with that.
All right. Now I'm going to talk some shit about it.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Now I've been on the internet. There's lots of people, sensible adult people who I admire, who are like, I was fucking sobbing like a baby in this movie.
Oh, hey, yeah. Before you start, can I get in my one? Yeah, there was one thing that
Go for it, dude.
kind of boiled my blood. It's, just who you gonna call?
Oh no. Well, that's symptomatic of what I didn't like about this movie. Because halfway through, the kid character's in jail. She remembers the Ghostbusters commercial that she saw earlier in the movie when she was researching her granddad. So it all makes sense and it was all set up correctly. But the delivery of it was such fucking eye-rolling grandma cringe.
Yeah.
She's like, I need to make a phone call. And the guy, like, literally just kind of walks up to her really slowly. Like, who are you going to call? I'm like, no, don't do that.
Yeah. That was it was so jarring and out of place that it was like, what was that movie with Will Smith and iRobot, I think it was, where he's talking to his cop buddy, and he's got on his like vintage Converse sneakers, and the cop's leaving. And he turns around and says, "Nice shoes." Whoa! Brain explosion.
Yeah, that took me out. And there were a couple of things that took me out that didn't need to be there. Pointless callbacks. I think the crunch bar in the pocket is a good spot if you're a Ghostbusters fan, but just fucking didn't mean anything.
Actually, I didn't remember the crunch bar in the original.
I did, because I always I watched Ghostbusters 1 quite recently, and I thought that was a hilarious little gag. And the Twinkie in the glove box, it was like they mentioned a Twinkie once, you know. You don't have
that didn't bother me. They like Twinkies.
It's not about whether you like Twinkies. I just thought.
No, I'm not saying I like Twinkies. I'm saying the Ghostbusters like Twinkies. Wait, the Twinkie was in the glove box of Ecto 1?
Yeah, but they didn't like Twinkies. They just used Twinkies as an analogy for Doom.
Because that was what was there.
Yeah.
On hand to make an analogy with, because they like Twinkies.
Like, I'm not even sure they like Twinkies. They just had one lying around. They like fucking cigarettes. They should have opened that glove box and a shitload of cigarettes should have fallen out.
Yeah, they really did. I remember noticing that the last time I watched Ghostbusters. God damn, these guys smoke a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I quit smoking about 2 years ago. I watched Ghostbusters film. Oh my God. I've got to start smoking again. These guys are having such a great time smoking all the time. But, yeah, if they'd opened that glove box, it should have just been filled with fucking Marlboros. But it wasn't. It's filled with a Twinkie because they're doing a callback to a joke.
That didn't bother me at all.
Okay, well, it bothered me because it wasn't a joke. It was just a Twinkie in a glove box. Going, huh? You remember Twinkies?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these callbacks did. That one in particular did not.
Okay, right. I don't think they had to lean on that, on those callback as much. I didn't mind so much the fetishization of the equipment. Because when you look at the first film, the equipment's not really fetishized at all. You don't really kind of get gratuitous close-ups of it or anything. No one really explains how a proton pack works. They just throw some fucking pseudoscience out there for a joke. And then they go and explode things, and it's fun. And this, they were looking at all the bits and pieces, and
yeah. But
I didn't mind that because even though the first film didn't make a big deal about it, the fans did. And I remember being a kid.
Well, and yeah, that's what they've got now. They've got fans.
Yeah.
And like, it seems like half the world doesn't really believe the events of the first movie took place. Or am I wrong?
That's a different one. But I want to talk about the equipment because I want to talk about, again, kid me, who's not really like learning about the equipment in the movie, but is learning about the equipment and all the supplemental shit, all the Ghostbusters annuals and cartoons where they need to fill pages, so every piece of equipment that's on the movie screen gets a little write-up in the annual. A lot of Ghostbusters fans would have grew up with that. So the gratuitous kind of, porno shots of all the kit, I get that. That's a kind of a big part of the Ghostbusters experience. I'll forgive them that.
I'm also a sucker for things like that, or like they had with the again, I'll compare it to the new Star Wars movies, where you get to see what was it? It was Death Star just like crashed in the ocean and it's looking all old and shitty. Like, I love that. We got a dusty old Ecto one, a bunch of dusty equipment, and that I'm a sucker for that sort of thing.
That is cool. I'll tell you the difference of it. I'll use Star Wars as an example. Watching Episode 7, they find a lightsaber. That's got to happen. People want to see the lightsaber. They find the Millennium Falcon. That's got to happen. People want to see the Millennium Falcon. But while they're in the Millennium Falcon, they run through a lot of turbulence and all this shit starts flying around, and like the training droid that Luke had just comes onto the screen. And there's no point in that other than like, hey, we remember the training droid. Did you remember the training droid?
Yeah.
It's like, that to me was the Twinkie moment in Ghostbusters. It's like, you didn't need to have that in there.
Yeah, I don't even remember the training droid in the new ones.
I remember it because it made me angry.
Yeah.
Because I'm an unreasonable and bitter man.
No, I mean, again, like, I don't remember that, but I do remember other things, like other callbacks that I kind of rolled my eyes at.
That's the thing, you don't need to be cheap. There's enough there that you can just recapture the magic. You don't need to tick every box and wink at the camera.
Well, what you need to do, and what I thought Ghostbusters did really well, is find some new shit to do with this. Like Egon's that trap he made over the hole, like a temporary fix for to keep the ghost contained, where he had 3 proton packs firing at each other. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that is cool. That was an escalation of the use of the equipment. And for those of you who haven't watched the movie,
right,
still listening to this podcast for some fucking reason, there's a kind of summoning hole, I guess, where this supernatural energy that will release Gozer builds up, and Egon has rigged a trap that basically just fires proton beams into it should it get too high. Which is cool.
We said there'd be spoilers. I don't know if we need to explain the spoilers.
I don't know. I'm talking to. There are people who listen to our At the Movies podcast without the actual movie on and without having seen the movie. So, for those 5 dedicated and bizarre listeners, I'm explaining what the movie is while we spoil the fuck out of it and assume that people have spoiled the movie. We're a podcast for everyone, Bevan.
Okay.
Unless you enjoyed Ghostbusters 2016, this podcast may not be for you. I apologize. So yeah, you're right. There was some cool escalation of the equipment. The mobile trap that they used, the remote control buggy mobile trap, which the kid gets to operate. Again, if I was 12 years old looking at that, I'd be thinking, wow, that is so cool.
That one, I just kept thinking, no way. Because, there was some maneuvering.
Yeah. I mean, he was too good at that. But it's like the hoverboard. You don't think about it too much because it's just cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was hoverboard cool. But I keep on saying, 12-year-old me. But here's the thing.
12-year-old you didn't see this.
Yeah, 12-year-old me didn't see this.
40-year-old you.
Yeah, this is 40-year-old me. And to be honest, a 12-year-old now hasn't watched Ghostbusters 1 or 2. Likely they probably haven't watched it. So who is this fucking movie aimed at? I would have thought it's obviously aimed at 40-year-olds, but it seemed to want to capture the imagination of children.
Well, I mean, 40-year-olds have kids.
Yeah, you're right. I think
so. I imagine there were some kids that just wanted to see this movie, but there were a lot more parents who wanted their kids to see this movie. And that was I asked my son, "Do you want to see it?" And he was like, "Not really." And but he likes Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
But I think like you, he didn't have a lot of faith that this was going to be any good. But he changed his mind.
Did you tell him he had to see it?
No. I mean, I wasn't sure if it was going to be good. But he changed his mind, and we all went and saw it. and everybody loved it.
Can I ask you, your kids are pretty savvy. What did they think of the Ghostbusters 2016 movie?
They haven't seen it.
All right, fair enough.
What kind of parent do you think I am, Steve?
Look, I have a daughter. I got the Ghostbusters 2016 because, it's supposed to give little girls hope that they can be Ghostbusters one day, even though they can't because Ghostbusters don't fucking exist. But, maybe she wanted a career in ghostbusting, and I felt it was my duty as a modern parent to make her watch that piece of shit movie.
Wait, you made her watch this after you knew it was a piece of shit?
What, Ghostbusters 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it had girls in it, and I bought into the give girls a chance to love science aspect of how that movie was sold to us. Even though every single...
Does she still love you?
She's a very forgiving person. Yeah.
Well, what did she think of it?
I think she was largely indifferent to it. But, to be fair, she wasn't like... I forced her to watch the original Ghostbusters movie for reasons that had nothing to do with feminism. Yeah, she acknowledged it. She remembered the Slimer scene.
Yeah, I mean, I guess 2016, like, if you don't have anything emotionally invested in the original, then yeah, it's a forgettable movie.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff happening on the screen and that you forget about it, like pixels or whatever. Yeah, both my kids watched Ghostbusters Afterlife. It was okay. They enjoyed it. Okay, before we get into the 2016 comparisons, I'm not finished complaining about what I thought was wrong with this otherwise good and enjoyable movie.
Oh no, I got more to talk about as well. Like, all right, I'll go next. The 10-minute establishing shot of Walmart.
You're absolutely right.
All right, that sure is Walmart. Did the movie stop? Yep, still Walmart. And then Paul Rudd is the only customer in Walmart.
And he's having a great time in Walmart. And he's picking up some Baskin Robbins ice cream. And he feels, it goes wrong for him at the end. But for a while there, I just thought, I could watch Paul Rudd in Walmart all day. Man, I could really go for some ice cream right now. Yeah, somebody was writing a fucking check there. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And you know what? While we're talking to the Walmart scene, the little Stay Puft Marshmallow Men. Had that been just the supernatural energy has been shot out into the world, as it was in the first Ghostbuster movie, and like supernatural occurrences start happening, that's fine. And the Stay Puft Marshmallow, which is a real marshmallow brand in the Ghostbusters universe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, in the Ghostbusters,
universe
yeah.
is. Even though that, like, 30 years ago, their mascot killed hundreds of people, probably. They're still going.
Well, yeah, you can't buy that kind of publicity.
Yeah, there's no such thing as bad press, even if you are pressed beneath the feet of a 100-ton marshmallow demon.
Why do you think Gestapo soup is so big?
It's true, you can't beat the branding of Gestapo soup. Jesus Christ. So, yeah, Stay Puft marshmallows start come to life as mini Stay Puft Men. That's a brilliant fucking idea, and it's gonna sell some fucking lunchboxes or whatever it is kids use to eat these days. But there was about 5 minutes of that scene where I just thought, yeah, I get it. I know you're trying to sell me on these cute flubber substitutes. I know why you're doing this, and I hate you a little bit for it.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit much. It was, it was fun in like a Gremlins sense where they were gleefully killing each other. But not strictly necessary.
We'd followed Paul Rudd into Walmart. We were enjoying his Walmart experience. I kind of wanted to go to Walmart. I sort of regretted that we don't have them in England after the movie had finished. But then it was like he discovers the Stay Puffs, and that's supposed to be the lead-in for him to run into the Zool dog. But there's a good solid few minutes gap between him running away from the Stay Puffs and then running into the Zool dog, where we're just following the antics of Stay Puft Mini Marshmallow Man. And the only reason we're doing that...
When Paul Rudd's shopping is more entertaining than all this shit you put so much time and CGI and money toward, then there's a problem there.
I mean, I could say to these people, had I just like burst into their office. It's like, you can have your Stay Puft Marshmallow Mini-Men, and you can still sell them come Christmas time. But I'm going to save you like a couple of $100,000 by just telling you all this blender and marshmallow toasting shit. Fucking cut it. But I know why they did it. Because they had some cool shots for the trailer, and they're going to sell some merchandise.
And I'm sure the kids enjoy that. A lot of the adults too. People would have.
Yeah, people need.
I agree with you.
People need to buck up their ideas, Bevan.
Also, and this goes back to the original Ghostbusters. It's hard to pin down what a ghost is in this universe. You know, all right, there was a reason the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man came into existence in the first movie. Here, not so much. And but just like Slimer, what the fuck was he? Is he the spirit of a fat guy, or why didn't he look like a human? And then the Muncher, and that's what you have an answer.
What? Yes, no. I have a perfect philosophical answer for how the supernatural beings in Ghostbusters work.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Of course I don't, because they don't work. They're just like kooky.
I was waiting.
They're just kooky, fun fucking monsters. And it's great, and it's fine. It's like what I hated about Ghostbusters 2016. Like, you know, thing number 56 I hated about Ghostbusters 2016 is at the end, they just had a bunch of stunt dudes. Just normal-looking dudes who look like ghosts. They're like, oh, they're pilgrim ghosts. It's like, okay, well, why don't they look like fucking Slimer? Why don't they look like the librarian ghost after she transforms and goes all like toothy and chaotic? Why do they just look like convenient stuntmen to fall down when Melissa McCarthy twirls along with her ghost-punching devices? Yeah. I don't like the ghosts being too human. I do like them coming up in an unexpected and weird ways, and they do possess things and like inhabit things. So maybe some of this supernatural energy just thought, hey, remember that time we were that huge fucking marshmallow monster? Look, I found these little marshmallows. Let's have some fun.
Well, that's why I let it go. Logic. Like, I mean, yeah, it was a bit much, but okay, why are these the only things in Walmart like coming to life as ghosts?
Yeah. I mean, they should have had like whatever else Walmart sells coming to life also. And then they could have showcased some fine Walmart products.
Missed opportunity.
It was great. I just thought about 3 minutes into that sequence, like, yeah, I fucking get it. Spin on. But I know what it did. That's fine. I'm not angry about that. I'm just being a dick. I'm gonna get to what I thought. To me, there are two aspects of what I thought made this movie not land as it might have done. And the first big reason is all the original Ghostbusters coming back at the end to save the day.
Yeah, I will say that was, I hate to say it, but my least favorite parts of this movie were them.
Yeah. No, I hate to say it as well, because it really fucking screwed the ending up for me.
Yeah, because, like, all right, because I genuinely believed, all right, the kids are handling this shit, and then like, oh, no, and then they get rescued, and I mean, these were some tired performances.
Yeah, I know, very tired, because the energy was up there, and then they come in and are like, hey, Flat Top. Oh, we said that in the first movie. And then, oh, hey, it's the Ghostbusters. Oh, they look, somebody get them a chair. Somebody get the Ghostbusters a chair. Bill Murray in particular. And you know what? I did love seeing him because I do love those characters.
Yeah.
Still love those characters. And it was Bill Murray doing his Venkman shtick. All right, it was low energy and kind of a tired effort, but it was nice to see him smack talking Gozer. And it was nice to see Ray being Ray and Winston being Winston. That was nice.
But I mean, they could have done something different. It was like Gozer just sets him up for the obvious, are you a god? Come on, Ray. Not again.
Yeah. It's like they came back. It's like the very elderly band come back to cover their number one hit 30 years on. It's like, okay, you're right. We love that and we love you, but right now, the support band is still playing and they were doing really well. Yeah. I thought it kind of killed the energy. I was torn really between like, I really do like these characters, and it really is kind of nice to see them again. And this was a bad way to handle the reintroduction of the characters, and you've kind of fucked the ending up.
What I would have liked is more like they did the first with that earlier scene with Ray, with the like super long expository phone call. But
that wasn't particularly well handled, either,
but no, yeah, they could each offer something, but not swoop in at the last second to save the day. But that phone call though, that well, I did. I liked the beginning. There's Egon Spangler can burn in hell. God damn, Ray. All right. But then, he goes from I don't want to talk to you to I'm going to give you a 20-minute history of everything that happened before I know who you are.
Yeah. Well, that's going to slide me conveniently into my next big gripe, which is the entire premise of that 30-year gap doesn't make a fucking lick of sense. What you just said, with Ray Stan saying, tell Egon Spengler you can burn in hell. It's like, no, that's never going to fucking happen. That doesn't happen.
What?
That just would not happen. A lot of people had problems with The Last Jedi because Luke Skywalker was suddenly a bitter, cynical, broken, titty-sucking old man. And I get their gripe, because that's not where Luke left off, and it was never what Luke was about. But to me, the very fact that Egon Spengler would say, hey, Ghostbusters, this is all bullshit, the world's going to end, I found evidence, and Ray would be like, yeah, I don't believe you, man. That is not the Ray and Egon dynamic at all. Ray would have never have said, nah, Egon's just fucking crazy.
Yeah, all right, you might have a point there.
Still, it just wouldn't happen.
I don't know. I like that.
I don't know. It wasn't justified enough. You need it in the same way that Luke becoming what he did in The Last Jedi needed an entire fucking movie to explain that process, to break that down. Ray and Egon just suddenly becoming estranged because Ray doesn't believe Egon. You have to throw away so much of what you know about the characters.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because Ray believes anything.
Yeah, that's Ray. That's what Ray does. And here's my second point. Egon wouldn't do any of this shit. Egon wouldn't suddenly go dark, and he wouldn't suddenly just not explain himself. Egon will explain himself to anyone. He's not necessarily talking their language. Egon speaks to people like they should know what he's talking about. That's what Egon's character is. The fact that he just all suddenly go weird hermity guy, being secretive. Why would he? Egon believes he's right. Egon knows he's right.
I didn't have a problem with him being weird hermity, but no, I will agree with you at least that he would have explained this to the other Ghostbusters, and they, at least would have followed up on it a bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's the thing. I quite like the plot and I quite like the premise, but there's no way that Egon would ever be the one to just go dark like that. There's no way that if he did, Ray wouldn't have followed him. And here's another thing that annoys me. The Egon character was such a cynical, funny character. Just the way he didn't quite connect to human emotions. The idea, when they brought Harold Ramis back as a ghost, putting aside the morality of bringing somebody back, literally back from the dead with CGI, I'm going to give him a pass because there are people involved in this movie that probably would have known Harold Ramis' wishes far better than we ever will.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about that. I thought it was cool.
It was cool. It was well done, but here's the thing. The Egon character, because he comes back as a ghost and he doesn't say anything, but he's doing all this emotional emoting to everyone. All this simpering and to his daughter and reconciling with his grandchildren and his old friends, all through this heavily emoting facial expressions. Now, does that sound like Egon Spengler to you?
No, but it's also, a lot can happen in 40 years, and he's got a lot of regrets.
But he's not suddenly going to become,
It's not sudden.
super autistic or whatever he is. He's not going to do a completely 180. It's like, oh yeah, I spent...
That is not a complete 180. That is like a gradual like build up of, oh my God, I wish he's got evidence on the walls, all these pictures of his daughter. I wish I could have spent time with you. But I got to save the world by myself in this crappy old house. Yeah, I bought that just fine.
I was never able to express emotions to people before, but then I spent 30 years locked in a house, and now I can. No, fuck that.
Maybe he was practicing in a mirror because he had nothing else to do.
He didn't even realize that Janine was trying to fuck him for the entire fucking movie.
That's something I was curious about. If Janine is not the woman's mother, who was Egon fucking?
Exactly. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
What makes sense? That was a question.
Character. Yeah, it's like if Egon's got kids, it's because like somebody approached him and said, "Would you like to partake in our genius sperm donating program so we can make an army of geniuses?" That's the only way Egon's having kids. But no one explained that. No, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, now that I'm dead, I have normal human emotions. No, you don't, Egon. Fuck off. Stop ruining Egon.
I wasn't bothered by that.
I was bothered by
that. I mean, I thought it lingered a little too long. It's like, all right, we get it. He's a ghost, and we all miss Harold Ramis. But all right, let the man die.
That's why I can't be too mad about it, because it was kind of a love letter to the fans, and it was nice and schmaltzy. That's the thing. Ghostbusters was never schmaltzy, and Egon, the let's see what happens when we take the puppies away. Egon, like, oh, do you like books? Print is dead. This is Egon we're talking about. The only way he can express fear is to actively say, I am terrified beyond the capacity for rational thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't suddenly believe he's this simpering ghost who's able to convey regret and sorrow and, unrequited love.
All right, maybe these emotional blockages were a biological thing, and now that he's free of his body, then it's like, oh yeah, this is what emotions are like.
He became a much lamer ghost, is what you tried to tell me. All right, fair enough. I'll buy into your theory. Okay, so I've griped about it, but I'm going to say, as far as a sequel, I don't think it's a good follow-up to a Ghostbusters movie, because I don't think it's the same as the Ghostbusters movie at all. And I think we're going to look back on Ghostbusters 2 with a bit more of a kindly eye than we did when it came out. Because Ghostbusters 2 was just retreading Ghostbusters 1. But after some of the shit show we've had, I think if I go back and watch Ghostbusters 2 now, even now I can think of, like, there were some pretty good moments in Ghostbusters 2. Some pretty stupid moments, but some pretty good moments.
Yeah.
But I thought this, as far as kind of recapturing the magic of making it a family accessible modern comedy, even though it wasn't hilarious, but it was fun and funny. Family adventure, let's say, rather than comedy. I thought it was entirely successful. I think it will...
it's something I'd watch again not to make fun of.
Yeah. It was good. Now I'm going to read you a review from The Guardian.
Oh, good.
I'm picking The Guardian, but there's a few other examples out there from what I'd consider less biased sources. But I'm going to show you the most biased source. Ghostbusters Afterlife Review. A slimy, stinking corpse of a sequel. 1 star. Do you think this is a 1-star movie?
Are you asking me, or are you reading the review?
No, I'm asking you. Do you think Ghostbusters 2016 was a 1-star movie?
I mean, like, as in the classic, because they won't let me give it 0 stars, or...
No, I think, like, if I hadn't watched Ghostbusters 1, or any Ghostbusters film, and I'd just watched Ghostbusters 2016, and it wasn't surrounded by the stupid fucking hurricane of idiocy around its release and the zeitgeist of the time, I probably would have given Ghostbusters 2 stars, maybe 3, if I was feeling generous. just because it's like,
yeah, I'm unable to separate my emotions from that.
yeah, well, I can envision a world where I had no vested interest in Ghostbusters and I just watched that in the same way that I watched Pixels. I might have given it 2 stars.
I didn't watch Pixels.
Oh, well, don't watch Pixels.
No, I won't.
I mean,
I gave up on what's his face a long time ago.
Yeah, what's his face gave up on himself a long time ago.
Yeah, it was Grown Ups. That was the last straw.
Oh, you didn't watch Grown Ups too?
No, I honestly could not believe that enough people liked the first one. But oh man, that really ruptured my faith in humanity.
I'm going to point out some hypocrisy.
That was like Ghostbusters 2, no, Ghostbusters 2016 level of anger I have for that movie.
It's fair enough.
And I had no grown-ups canon to get offended by it. It's just comedy in general. Oh, you ruined comedy for me.
I'm going to read a paragraph from this review by The Guardian.
Go ahead. Yes.
By a supposed critic. Consider the casual cowardice of a script that uses its own mythology to subtly erase 2016's All Gals reboot from the canon, giving the rage-choked trolls carpet-bombing IMDb with 0-star ratings the vindication they've always craved. The message is clear, as are its intended recipients. There's nothing more powerful, important, or cool than being a nerd. I would like to think that the fervor around 2016, the kind of like, it's the girls' turn now, even though why would anyone get a turn at being a Ghostbuster? That doesn't make any fucking sense. And if you don't like it, you're a misogynist. I would have thought that would kind of die down because it's been 5 years.
No, you cannot be so naive as to think that's not just going to stir the shit pot back up. This was always... That's the purpose that we are doing this podcast for, Steve.
I know, but I know that now, after I saw the reviews coming.
Back to that review, though. How does that erase 2016? That's by definition a reboot not canonical to the original story.
Yeah, well, it's entirely hypocritical. It's saying like, oh, it subtly erases 2016. 2016 erased the original fucking movies and Ghostbusters and universe.
Well, they didn't erase it.
Well, they fucked its corpse.
Their damnedest.
Yeah. They took its corpse, peeled off its skin, wore it, then did a funny dance and said, "Where's my wontons?"
And shot it in the dick.
Look at me, I'm wearing the skin of something you love. Where's my wontons? But check this quote out. Evening the champion of scientific expertise comes off as overreaching and aggrieved. From Grubesom's declaration that science is punk to the smug superiority of the pint-sized Phoebe, the message is clear. There's nothing more important or cool than being a nerd. Why was that? Why was the whole, science is great, we need to get women into science, even though it's Ghostbusters and it's not really science, just basically magic.
Like, every Ghostbusters, 2016 included.
Why is this suddenly bad? Science is punk? It's like, yeah.
No, I mean, like, the coolness of being a nerd, that was what, what's-her-face is, Kristen Wiig?
Yeah.
That was her whole thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I thought. But, even in the first original movie, a bunch of, they were blue-collar scientist guys, smoking cigarettes and talking shit and sticking it to the man and the posh people with nothing but fucking science and technology on their side and, 80s Reaganism. But all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, well, that's patronizing. Oh, you're trying to appeal to the nerds, are you?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Well, here's the thing. We're kind of made to feel... I didn't talk about Ghostbusters 2016 for a while because it was kind of made to feel that anyone who had a problem with it was a basement-dwelling virgin. But,
well, yeah, I think the pitch meeting guy did it best. Said something. Oh, now you're on a list.
But now that I've actually moved into a basement, and I feel a little bit more secure about my criticisms, I'm fucking owning this life. I don't know. I mean, it seems to me like they're taking that snide, hateful rhetoric that they claimed was the reason that Ghostbusters 2016 never succeeded, and now applying it to what I think, at worst, could be described as a perfectly innocuous movie.
I've been waiting for this, to do this show with you. I haven't looked at any of the reviews yet, but what I'm most excited about, I want to take a deep dive and look at the reviewers who positively reviewed that and are dumping on this one. And I want to read them all.
Yeah, I want to read them all. I mean, I'm giving you The Guardian as an example here, but it's the same with a lot of people. There's people who just mentions like, oh, this feels like it's rewarding the bad behavior of the fans. So, well, if making a movie that doesn't entirely suck is considered rewarding behavior, I mean, just keep on doing it.
And the main character of this movie was a girl.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite a diverse cast. There was technically another girl Ghostbuster, but she didn't really do much. But the main character was a girl.
Yeah, but I mean, the only one who did shit at all was Spangler. Like, podcast didn't do anything. He was there for comic relief. But
he was there for the ride.
Yeah, the other one drive a car, and the other one there sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Filling out that fourth number. Yeah, I can't believe some of the vitriol I'm seeing for this movie, which, I can talk down a movie. I can talk down a movie I like. But after watching Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I came in not expecting much, the worst I can say about it was it kind of fucked the dog on the ending by trying a little too hard to be cute, but it was a little bit slow in some places. Some of the callbacks were unwise. But at my most damning, I would say this was a perfectly fine movie that will probably inject a lot more interest into Ghostbusters.
Yeah. I think it did the right thing. I think it's a mistake to try and, recapture what Ghostbusters was. Yeah. Like, entirely, because, without that cast in that time of their lives and all that, then you're going to fail. But if you're doing new and interesting things, like, in fact, I wish they would have diverged a little bit. It was neat to see Gozer again, but I don't think we needed the same villain.
I don't think we need, but what they did with Gozer, with the whole, like, they trapped one of the
Gozer
dogs
looked cool.
And ripped her in half. It was actually like, oh, I'm scared of Gozer now. That's quite scary. I thought it was well done, but it was kind of...
Yeah, the Gozer effects were badass.
Yeah, it was going back to the same well.
Yeah, but I mean, that was just, the chick in a costume. This was like, the CGI even looked really good when, she was getting blasted and, like, showing, like, skeletal parts and shit. And, like, I don't know. It was like, I was really impressed with that.
Well, it's the thing, they went back to the same well, but they went back to it with a sense of reverence and a desire to do it justice, which was just not in 2016 at all. This felt like somebody giving you a hand job while they're reaching for your wallet. While Ghostbusters 2016 felt like somebody asking you to give them a hand job while reaching for your wallet. It didn't spit in the face of it. Ghostbusters 2016 seemed to take this massive reverence in like, oh, we're Ghostbusters now, and we don't really care about it. We're zany. We're having a little dance.
And shooting your mascot in the dick.
Yeah. It's like, we're going to turn the stereotype of the dumb secretary on its head by making it a man with clear learning difficulties who we're talking about wanting to fuck. It's like, did you even watch the first movie? What stereotype are you turning on the head? What problem did you have with Janine? So we'll get the original cast back and we'll throw them out a fucking window. So what message are you sending here?
I don't think they were trying to do anything with Janine. I think somebody mistakenly thought that was just going to be a really funny thing to do. We were going to make
I've heard people justify that. It's like, oh, they're turning the dumb secretary trope on its head. It's like, well, it's not just dumb. he has the mind of a child. The guy is, I guess,
No.
clinically retarded.
Yes.
But, the only time I've ever seen a secretary that dumb was in Anchorman 2, where they had a female counterpart for Brick, who was also clinically retarded, as it says in the script. So I'm not... People are like, yeah, they turned that stereotype on his head. It's like, did you last watch a movie in the fucking 70s? I don't know.
No, I've seen reviews on YouTube, people trashing the movie, but saying the only good part about this was Chris Hemsworth, and I was stunned. No, he was the fucking worst. He pissed me off more than anybody.
So Chris Hemsworth was a good comedy actor, but that movie was filled with people just doing inadvisable skits rather than reading an actual fucking comedy script.
Oh, I mean, the whole movie was filled with good comedy actors and actresses, but you're just taking a shit.
Yeah. It's like, we'll have 5 minutes of this guy's doing his middle finger routine. Why? Why don't you just hire a writer, you fucking idiot? So I will say that Ghostbusters Afterlife had a script, and that was probably like the first thing it did right.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it didn't go for the easy wins with nostalgia.
Yeah, occasionally. And we've discussed that already. Some of them worked better than others.
I don't know. I think it did it with a sense of careful reverence and artistry. Enough that it would give the fanboys and the 40-year-olds and the people who were there for the first movies a warm glow of satisfaction, while also just kind of working as fun things for people who don't give a shit about that to look at.
Yeah.
I never felt like I was an idiot for thinking Ghostbusters were cool. Whereas in 2016, it kind of made me feel like I was an idiot for thinking Ghostbusters were cool.
And it made me feel like somebody wanted me to think that, but it never made me feel like that.
Well, I'm glad they didn't get under your skin like they got under mine, Bevan. But again, as a cast of literal children, I found less obnoxious and annoying than the cast of 2016. An otherwise good and talented cast who have been in good and talented movies.
Well, I think that's another thing. They were real children. Like, I could see these as my kids. They're not like dumbed down. Like, all right, this is what I think a child is and would say. And,
yeah.
Like what was it? City Slickers. They, what's it? Billy Crystal's son. He's got like this 12-year-old son carrying around a teddy bear. No.
So he's a kid. Give him a teddy bear. That's what kids do, right? I don't know. I'm not legally allowed around children because I'm a Hollywood executive.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. All right. One more before I finish bitching about City Slickers. End of the movie. Billy Crystal's kissing his wife. The son is gawking. His sister covers his eyes, and he pushes her hand away because he wants to watch his parents make out. Ugh.
Dude, this isn't about secrets.
All right, but I can't. Like, I already. There was a crack in the dam. I had to let it out.
It's another podcast.
I'm done.
When they remake City Slickers with his son, who's in therapy because he keeps masturbating about his parents. Well, I got to recommend for you a wilderness adventure. You masturbating weirdo. I've got to write this movie now. Anyway, I guess what I'm saying is that the whole furore about Ghostbusters 2016, and there definitely were people attacking it because they remade it with women, and there definitely were people defending it because they remade it with women. And I think both of those people are equally fucking stupid because it was a terrible movie.
Yeah, I think. Was that brilliant strategy?
What, piss people off and say, hey, it's the girl's turn now,
Yeah.
and then forget to write a script? No, I don't think it was brilliant strategy. I think they should have went, hey, it's the girl's turn now, and then wrote a really fucking good film. That would have been a good strategy.
Yeah, but what if they didn't want to write a good film? That's work.
Yeah, you're right. That does take time.
I've got a great marketing strategy. I'm going to piss everybody off.
We already paid for the lunchbox.
I'm going to start this war.
We put Melissa McCarthy in it. It's going to be fine. Release a piece of shit trailer.
I mean, we've already paid to watch it twice because we hate it.
Release a piece of shit trailer, and when people complain, we'll call them misogynists. Yeah, maybe it was a strategy. I don't know. Doesn't look like one from the untrained eye. Just looks like a bunch of bumbling testicles. But I don't know. I'm not a marketing guru.
Neither am I.
The fact that the fallout is now attacking this movie says to me no, that these people genuinely believed that Ghostbusters 2016 had to be defended as some kind of elevator of women in film.
Yeah, I mean that's why I've got more popcorn ready for these reviews than I had for the movie.
Yeah, to the point where they have to actively try and besmirch a movie that is, I don't know, maybe a 70% movie, I reckon, all in all. If you ain't a Ghostbusters fan, maybe 70%. If you are a Ghostbusters fan, you're probably still crying right now. And it's a solid 110%, and that's fine. I feel you. But I actually, the hatred surrounding this from people who liked 2016, I think has vindicated me a bit. Because for a fucking while there, I felt like I was losing my fucking mind.
The people who... the people who claim to like 2016. I still don't believe they exist.
Legitimately, but because a lot of creative defense was going into Ghostbusters 2016.
Oh yeah, I mean they can creatively defend it. It takes creativeness to defend that.
Oh yeah, no,
they didn't like it.
Fucking reaches going on. They defended it. They didn't like it.
No,
yeah,
it's like what was the Patton Oswalt's bit about NPR music? You know. He believes in what they do and he'll donate, but it's unlistenable to radio.
Oh, dude, I think you might be right. Look, if you're out there and you like Ghostbusters 2016, and I know that some of you do, you've talked to me before, you thought it was funny, you liked the queef joke, you enjoy Melissa McCarthy and whoever else was dancing around in that movie.
You were lying.
It's fine, it's great. Maybe you believed that the first Ghostbusters movie was misogynistic. It was made in the 80s. Might be by your standards.
The only woman in the movie got drugged during their first date.
Well, she was possessed by a demon, Bevan. That's what he told the courts, at least. But there were two women in that movie, and they were both badass.
Yeah.
Now, there were definitely no women Ghostbusters in those movies, and if you want to say that's a problem, yeah, okay. There definitely wasn't the appetite for inclusion back then that there is now. That's an unimpeachable criticism. But besides that, away from that, if your paladining for Ghostbusters 2016 has led you to seriously wander onto the review site of this perfectly innocuous adventure film for children and give it a bad review because you think it's erasing the legacy of what was a cynical cash grab by an overconfident dweeb wearing the skin of a franchise and the skin of feminism to line Sony's pockets, then maybe just don't. I don't know. Maybe just don't do that. It's been 5 years.
Strong disagree. Keep it up.
Let's let the dead die, eh? Let's leave those ghosts in the containment unit. Don't be a Walter Peck.
Nope, I'm the Walter Peck. Shut it down. Let the vitriol run free.
I'd just like to live in a world where a franchise I'm rather attached to isn't kept alive entirely by spite and hatred.
Hey, that's what is keeping me alive. And that's fine.
Oh, yeah. But that's why I watch movies to escape my reality, Bevan. If I want spite, all I have to do is wake up. Well, it's been quite a long one. Thank you for bearing with us, podcast listeners, and I'm really sorry if you haven't watched a Ghostbusters movie and you stopped listening about 45 minutes ago. I'm genuinely sorry if you haven't watched a Ghostbusters movie and you've just been listening all this time going, stop spoiling it for me.
Well, I think by this point, that's on them.
Yeah, well, a little bit of masochism. I think most of our fans are kind of audio masochists. Otherwise, there's no way they'd keep up with our adventures. I mean,
I'm sorry we're so goddamn charming that you couldn't pull your ears away long enough to go watch Ghostbusters.
I hope everybody out there had a good Thanksgiving or Gazpacho Soup Day or Gestapo Soup Day. In fact, no, I don't want you to have a good Gestapo Soup Day. Never have a good Gestapo Soup Day, please.
Even if they're bad, it's still cannibalism.
Go enjoy movies. Don't expect them to make your daughters grow up to be Ghostbusters. Any closing thoughts, Bevan?
No, I thought I had something else to say, but I don't remember. I'm like 8 beers in now.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave it in.
All right, that was fun. I'm gonna go read some reviews.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't enjoy Ghostbusters Afterlife and you didn't enjoy this podcast, then go out and read some incredibly vitriolic reviews. I get a feeling like vitriol is the new watching movies. It's just more accessible and it's more emotional.
That's nothing new. That's always been the case with critics.
That's true.
The bad reviews are so much more fun to read.
I wish it wasn't the case, Bevan, but it probably is. You want to surf through Twitter on a wave of people more angry than they should be, and I should know I'm one of them. And you do that, and you have yourself a good Thanksgiving. I love you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, friends.